Rich, first question: have you recovered from Saturday night?
In what respect?
Your nerves.
No, we're all right, James. Look, I said that I think after the game when it went to Golden Point, and they got Mark Sneed on the team. There's not too many probably come out on the right side of that, but I thought his defensive effort in that period was tremendous. And I thought we played the last 15, 20 minutes of the game. I thought, energy levels, what we were doing, the way we played situationally were very good. And we should have probably nailed a 1 point a little bit easier, a little bit sooner than that. But obviously, Luke Gale and a couple of other guys not in his team, it became a bit of a free-for-all on the drop goal efforts. But no, I thought we did a really good job last 15, 20 minutes of the game when we were behind, and thought we played really, really well in Golden Point.
Given the outcome, given the occasion, can you sense that it's maybe given the group a timely boost?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, we're the magnitude of the game and in the context of the season, what a big one. There's so many permutations about what can happen now. But out of the teams jockeying for spots, if you're thinking Wigan in fourth, and it's not rounded up, but if we're thinking we are, then it puts us in the strongest position of the clubs, and we absolutely control his own fate from here on in. And these are a quirk of results and points difference that could leave us out of the playoff spots, but it's put us in a good spot at this stage of the year. And I've talked to you guys before that we felt we could break our season down into stages on the way in, and we always felt we'd have to beat Hull and OKR coming in. We've got two opportunities because we've got Saints tomorrow, but we felt, given the fact of where Hull and OKR sit in the league, as we've talked about before, it's more than 2 points because of the respective swing in points percentages. So we always sort of felt that both those teams would be in it at this point, and those two games that we had again were vital, and we'd probably have to win those games to make it, which is probably, might not be the case, but still could be the case at the weekend. So in terms of shot in the arm, I think I'm obviously biased, James, but I look at what we've had to contend with this year, the amount of injuries, the amount of salary cap that we've had not available to us for long periods of time, disruptions we've had to spine, the COVID breakdowns, we've had some disciplinary issues that I think have been really harshly dealt with. I think it would have finished a lot of teams, what we've had to go through. But you saw at the weekend, the spirit and determination in those championship rounds was a very strong one.
So you lose Rob and King from the weekend. How bad is King's foot, and what sort of pose has it left you with this week?
Well, it leaves us short of big men and middlemen again. But at the same time, I'm excited about watching Sammy Walters play. I'm excited about watching Jared O'Connor play. The kids that have done a really good job for us in instances before. I cast my mind back a couple of weeks ago when we played Huddersfield and Jared started and Sammy come off the bench. Both had excellent games. So yeah, it's just one of those situations. It's not good news for King. I thought King were magnificent for us on Saturday. He's a player that we would have liked to have kept. But when we got King James, we got him on a chance. We offered him a chance, and he's worked his way to a point where his market value has significantly gone up when he got other offers from other teams. And unfortunately for us, given that we've got Matt Pryor, Zane Tesavano, Cameron Smith, Michaletsky, who are all contractually, I guess, if best way I can describe it, in a place in our pecking order. King's put himself in a place where clubs have offered him really, really good contracts, and he obviously felt he had to take them. But that's great. While we're sad to be leaving him, it's sad to be losing him. That's the way it works. He's given us great value. He's been a terrific kid, and while we're sad to see him go, we're really pleased for him. We hope we see him again. We think it's going to be surgical intervention, but at the moment he wants to put it off because it's feeling better towards this week, and he wants to see if he can sort of run at 90%, 95%, and put up with some pain for a couple of weeks in the hope that if we need him, he'll be able to play for us, which I think speaks volumes about his character. You know, he's signed for a new club. He needs surgery, but he's wanting to put it off until the last possible minute in case we need him for a game, because obviously numbers-wise we're getting very, very skinny.
Just talking about injuries, and we'll talk about Saints in a second, but James Bentley, have you been able to ascertain any sort of information on his injury and how that might affect you guys?
No, look, I only read it late last night. We play Saints tomorrow, so I just felt ethically I can wait until tomorrow till I'm over there. Probably see James over there, I see Wolfie over there, and they'll give me I'm sure they'll give me an update on where it's at.
So, given everything rolled in, and probably repeating a little bit of what you've already said, but how much importance do you put on Friday night's game?
Yeah, massive importance, because we're still fighting to try and get fourth spot, which would mean a home tie in the playoffs. So we've got lots to play for. We've got lots to play for, and I can assure you, it's not a case of, let's get ourselves ready for a big game this week and hope the results go our way. We want to get it nailed, and we want to get fourth spot. And there's no greater challenge in the game than going over to St Helens. We faced some similar circumstances last time we played them over there early in the year in the Cup, where we had a lineup that were, obviously moved around a little bit, and we took them all the way. And I think we acknowledge what a great side they are, the strength of the team, where they're particularly strong, in attack and defence. But at the same time, it's just a great challenge for our guys. And what these young guys have done for us all year is bring a tremendous amount of commitment and enthusiasm, which needs to be through the roof tomorrow night.
And given what is at stake, you mentioned that fourth spot, how big a boost would that be to have a home elimination playoff?
Well, great. I mean, we all know what Headingley means to our players, and to be able to get in front of our fans for another time this year after the last league game would be terrific. It's a great advantage. Look, we know that is out of our hands, James. That is not something that we can control. Wigan are in control of that one at this moment in time. But we want to give ourselves the best possible chance of that, and if not, finishing as high up in the ladder as we possibly can. So lots to play for, coming into a really exciting part of the year. And I think the message is we've had plenty thrown at us. We've had it tough, but we've hung in there, and we will keep hanging in there and giving it a crack, because we're right in there at the exciting part of the year.
Cheers, Rich. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Rich.
Hi, Matt. All right, mate.
Not too bad. Could you, given what you just said about King, sorry, could you just give us a general injury update? Because you've got bits and bats here and there at the minute, haven't you? Can you just give us a sort of a wide range update on everyone?
Yeah, I'm sat in the staff office, so we've got it on the board here. Yeah, Jack Walker really getting there, back running. Is a good sign, and he's not feeling any discomfort. Obviously, we've got to take it step by step because of the delicate nature and particularly what happened last time. But he's in a really good place. Upper body's built up well, and for where he is in terms of the expected time span of the injury. Yeah, good. Really happy with where Jack's at. Going through, Mikolaj Aletsky fighting to get fit for round one of the playoffs if we make it. Luke Gale, probably, I'll talk about Luke Gale and Alex Mellor because very, very similar injuries. Alex has started running in a straight line this week and feeling all right. We think Alex may be a couple of weeks away. Luke is 2 weeks behind him. Liam Sutcliffe has had surgery, but the surgery, he ended up not needing microfracture. So it was somewhat less of a procedure, which were a 3-month to 4-month injury. So we will get Liam back. He had it about a month ago. So he'll go probably December time, mate. He'll be back in full training. So we'll have no problem with him for the start of next season. Conrad Hurrell, still still struggling with that one. Probably unlikely, mate, that we'll get Conrad back. Rob Louis, head knock, back next week. Callum McClellan, difficult news on Callum. He has got a ruptured patella tendon and had surgery, which is, I'll estimate it at 6 months. It could be a fraction more, it could be a fraction less. You know, it could run into 4 or 5, it could run into 7 or 8. But at the moment, if all goes good with it, we're hoping that's going to be 6 months. Which is a tough one, a real tough one for Callum. He's had a really difficult year with injuries, poor kid. King will need surgery on the ligament under his foot, into his toe. Probably similar to Mikolaj Aletsky in terms of timescale, maybe a couple of months. But King's hoping to put that off until, as I've just spoke about, in the hope that he can play again this season, pain permitting. Zane Tetevano has got 2 more games to go on his suspension. And I think that's about it, guys. If I'm looking at that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for tomorrow. 10 for tomorrow. But that's been pretty consistent. It's been 7, 8, 9, 10 most of the year, guys. So I'll keep getting asked about the disruption to span. We're getting used to it, and I say I've been really excited about what we've been able to achieve in other areas of our squad. Morgan Gannon, Jack Broadbent last week, tremendous games. Jack Broadbent not played for 2.5 months and comes in and, would have been in any argument to be our best player last week. And he's had a terrific season, albeit some injuries in there too. So, lots of positives for us guys, and it's always about the here and now, but I'm still really confident. As a club moving forward, we're in a tremendous spot with the talent we've got coming through.
Made me laugh then when you said that's about it after reeling off half your squad.
I'm hoping I've not missed any. I don't think I have. I think that's it.
Just to pick up on a few of them then, Jack Walker. It's fair to say there's been some concern, hasn't there, about where he's at in the long term. The fact that he's making such good progress must be pleasing, relieving, encouraging, whatever you want to call it at this stage.
Yeah, it is, because look, Jack's one of them. There's a little bit of we're waiting with bated breath. We weren't going to know until at least August time the success of the operation and how it was going to feel for him. But just the positivity that Jack's absolutely exuding at the moment. He's ripping in the gym. Body-wise, physically, he looks really good. And, it's very delicate, Matt, around recruitment and stuff like that, because, if we knew we were going to be out for another period after this, or he weren't going to make it back for the start of next year, obviously that brings up some more, more testing questions and searching answers, if you like. But, we're really confident where he's at the moment. He's absolutely on the right track, and he'll be up and good to go next season. Just as much as he's asked this morning if he can, warm up with the team at some point before the end of the season. Well, we need to be quick on that. There's only a number of weeks left, but that probably gives you an indication of how he's feeling and where his injury's at. So that's that's terrific news. Obviously, it's got to be robust enough and stand up, and that'll be always the acid test with an injury like that, when the stresses start going through the foot. But so far so good, mate. Everyone's really, really happy, and in particular Jack himself, which is the main thing.
Sorry, I was just going to ask about Callum McClellan. I mean, you touched on it there. I mean, poor lad's had just awful luck with the injuries and the year he's had. Is there an update on his future yet, Rich? Obviously, he's off contract. Are you any nearer to knowing what's going on there?
No, look, I've said this before, stated this before. We'd offered him a contract, but he's not come back to us on that yet. So, and that's going back a number of weeks now. Going back a number of weeks. On the brighter note, really too. I know sort of all injury talk, but Corey Johnson will be back. Corey Johnson's back in the squad this week, which again is another shot in the arm for us. He's a terrific young player. obviously had a period away from the game. And I think everybody knows that the high hopes and rating that we had on Corey before his time away from the game. But again, he's in tremendous spirits. He's played some really good football at York while he's played hooker and had some really impressive games. He's also filled in the halves as well, and that's like getting a new signing back for us. And again, longer term, really looking forward to getting him back in full time next year, getting a pre-season under his belt and challenging for a spot, because again, he'll give us some terrific depth in the spine.
Is it a fair assumption that you've brought him back with a view of him potentially participating this year? Obviously, he's been playing at York, hasn't he, and been going very well. They've got a couple of games left, so is he sort of in your periphery of potentially playing some point this year?
Yeah, he's in the squad for tomorrow.
In the 21
for tomorrow, so he's got a definite chance of playing.
Right. And just finally on just general recruitment, Rich. A lot of clubs now are starting to talk about the overseas market picking up a little bit. It's no secret that practically half the competition want a middle. Are you finding yourself the same, that market is picking up a little bit now?
Yeah, it is, and the market ebbs and flows a little bit. So everyone in this country, you probably say that everyone wants to get the recruitment done a bit earlier in this country. The movement and the market is less, in terms of high quality players coming on the market over here. A lot of clubs and strong clubs get the players on longer term contracts and rarely do they get into the last year of the contract, which is I know we're getting off track here, which is why we've adopted we're going to try and grow it organically from within and get as many kids through our pathway as we can, because we think that's the best way forward. But adding your Matt Pryors and your Zane Tetavanos and your Conrad Earls and Reece Martins is how you strengthen your squad and real key how you fill your overseas spots. For us, obviously, we've lost King through budgetary. Really, we were sort of waiting to see how Jack Walker came back. Conrad will be leaving us, but in a lot of those positions, Matt, we feel covered. So if you look at our squad where we are next year, we could do with another big guy. We really could. But at the same time, if all our guys are fit and able and well, there's a lot of game time in our middles at the moment, in terms of Zane, Matty, Michaletsky, Cam Smith, all play terrific game time. Balding's still in there. Allroyd's getting better and better all the time. Dono's still around. So we're not absolutely not panicking to think that we're shy and short of a big bloke. One policy we may adopt is that, because we've got so many of us quota players done, is with the budget we've got on the one quota spot, sometimes patience can be a real virtue in the market, and what might not be available now may well be available if there's any coaching changes in the NRL, when there's salary cap movement, late movement. I think the market's been affected in the NRL because there's been no reserve grade. Reserve grade's been canned for a couple of years, and junior reps have been canned. So the general natural push through and people, people, poking through at the top end and thinking, we've got to get this guy in our full-time squad. That's not quite happened as much over there. But yeah, it is starting to move a little bit more. And we've got his eye on everything. I think it's fairly. I speak to a lot of people every day over in whether they be head coaches, recruitment managers, GM of footies. I speak regular to on my way into work at 6:30 in the morning. Is a good time to catch everybody over there. So I catch up with people pretty regular. So we're fairly aware of what's going on and who's looking. We may well try and take the best player that we can get for our budget who is on the board, regardless of position. There's a couple of positions what we think strength in depth will help us a bit more than others. But at the same time, if we can find a player that can really change his team, regardless of position, we may well have a look at that too. And that could be a forward, could be a middle forward, could be a back. But we're very mindful, Matt, too, of succession planning and pathways. we want to make sure Allroyd gets through, Gavin gets through. We're pulling some more guys up from his academy next year, and that's just to name a couple. So yeah, nothing definitive, mate, but we're looking. We think our fingers are on the pulse. We know roughly what we've got to spend, and we think we can improve our team as and when the right time and play comes up.
Cheers, Rich.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Rich.
Peter.
You sort of preempted me a little bit. I was going to ask you about Corey Johnson. Just wondered how that came about. Did you approach him, or did he come back to you and say, "I'm ready to come back to the game"?
I think Kevin was the conduit when I think about this time. Look, when Corey first left, we kept in touch with him, and a lot of our guys did keep in touch with him. It's probably not a secret or understandable that a couple of championship clubs along the way have broached the fact, would you like to come back playing again? And then Corey resumed a little bit of rugby league, playing locally in an amateur competition for Hunslet, I think. So he obviously starting to get a feel back for the game, and we kept in touch with him through then. And Kevin, I think, spoke to Corey's agent and subsequently Corey about the possibility of resuming again and what would it look like this year. So rather than coming in full time this year, he wanted to get a feel for it. So we felt part-time, the part-time option, just to get back in the swing of it, Pete, and dip his toe back in the pond, really. Going to a good club and a good setup. He played well for him, and he's got that buzz back again about him. So we always said to him when I go back first time when it happened, look, the door's always open for you, Corey. We understand this situation. It's a real difficult one for him personally to deal with at the time, but he just plain and simply didn't want to play rugby league anymore, and that happens. That it's hard for some people to probably comprehend that, but it happens. And he was at a certain stage of his life where he wanted to do other things for a time being, but he's rediscovered his love and his passion, and yeah, he's absolutely thriving at the moment. So it's great to get him back involved. And again, it's like having a new signing. He's a young player of immense promise, and I don't think the time off has hurt him too much. There's a big COVID shutdown in that time off too, so we've a lot of us have all had it off, not just Corey.
Thanks, Rich.
Sam, mate.
Hi, Richard. It's Martin here.
Hey, Martin.
How are you doing? Nice to see you, and thanks for that rundown of all the injuries. It's quite amazing, actually, that you're still in the playoff running when you look at all the trouble you've had this year.
I think some people will still be disappointed we're not minor premiers, but
I mean,
at the same time, the realistic people understand that, yeah, we've had a fair bit to contend with. But
do you sometimes get the feeling as a coach that some fans just don't have any understanding of how difficult it is, to deal with those sort of setbacks? It's quite incredible, really.
Yeah, to be honest, Martin, I wouldn't be able to tell you that because I don't, clearly don't frequent social media sites. But I have got to say, the club have put some fun events on for us where we've had 400 odd fans, and on a couple of occasions, and they put Sunday lunch on for them, and you get a chance to get a room and meet them. No, I think generally, mate, a lot of people do understand and are positive about what we're trying to do in terms of development and where they see we're heading. Of course, like any club, mate, whether you're at the top of the league or the bottom of the league, defeats come with frustration, and only one team can win the comp every year. But as I say earlier, we're in there fighting, Martin. We're in there fighting, and we'll absolutely fight until the death. And we think moving forward over the next couple of years, we've put some good things in place that'll, really reap the rewards. Judging where we've come from, judging what we sort of inherited a couple of seasons ago.
Do you think some of the recent rule changes we've seen in rugby league have contributed to the number of injuries you've had, or is it just bad luck that they could have happened at any time, regardless of rule changes and all that sort of stuff? I mean, do you do any analysis to work out whether there are any sort of root causes that could be avoided.
Yeah, we do. But whether rule changes is a factor, I think there'll be much smarter people looking at some of that right now, and looking at data and types of injuries, how the injuries have occurred. I think there's a lot of potential factors, Martin. Without being an expert, I think having 5 months off and then coming back and playing a heavily congested fixture list, a shortened pre-season, COVID breaks, actual COVID, again, congested fixtures again this year, and rule changes. Perhaps, we've gone through a lot of ours, and it's always very dangerous, man, very, very dangerous to look at a club and go, they've had 10 injuries every week. What on earth are they doing? What are they doing in the place? You have to look at every individual injury on its own merits. And, even going back to some early ones of us, Ash Hanley, who is our fittest player and looks after himself better than anyone in the club, really, or most, he got a medial ligament injury in a pre-season trial game from a foul tackle. We just couldn't stop that. There's nothing at all we could do to stop that. And then he got COVID. So when we look at Ash and the inconsistency in Ash, it's, I don't think as a club we could have done a lot more about that. But I think, mate, throughout the comp there probably has been a trend of players missing. I would say that the break, the pre-season, and the volume and lack of rest between games could possibly be a factor in that.
One thing that I would love to see is for every game, you obviously spend up to the salary cap, whatever that figure is in terms of your own club and so on. But I would love to see for every game, for the 17 players who take to the field, what the salary cap value of each player is for each team. So when you play Saints tomorrow night, I don't know what their salary cap figure would be, and I don't know what yours would be, but I'm pretty sure your salary cap figure would be way below theirs, because they obviously have fewer injuries than you. Well, and it'd be really interesting. It's probably something we're never going to get. Yeah. But it would be quite telling. And I'd love to know, for example, from your club, even if you didn't want to sort of say for individual matches, what the average has been during the year for your team in terms of the squad you've been able to put out week by week.
Well, we do that, Martin, and it's interesting you say that, because we started doing this at Warrington. I think it was Carl Fitzpatrick and Tony Smith started doing it. And again, I don't know if there's any science to this figure, but we worked on a win-loss record. If you had 65% or more of your salary cap in your team, which is a pretty standard acceptable figure. Generally, when I'm going back to my days at Warrington, generally our results were better when that happened. Or you might play the other top teams with their full cap out, and there might be tight games, and it might be, the odd one. But you generally aim for 65%. There's been times this year we've been in the 40s a number of times on available salary cap. So we do that, and it actually does correlate to wins and performances around 65% E-cap being available to you. So we've regularly gone in and around 50 this year.
You'd be interested in making some of that more public,
Yeah, I don't think you can make players' wages public.
No, maybe not individual players' wages.
The percentage of your cap. I reckon a lot of clubs might actually do it, Martin. I reckon a few clubs might actually have those figures available for you.
Yeah, I assume Phil is listening to this. Maybe Phil could, do something. It'd just be very interesting, and it would, for the fans, for everybody, really.
You're looking at Moneyball, Martin, aren't you? Really?
Yeah.
If you're spending this, I don't know if you're going to put a figure on it, as in, if you're talking, well, this week you've got £1.2 million of the talent on the field, or this week you've got £700,000 of the talent on the field, or whether you do it over, this is what percentage of our cap we've had available this week. There's two ways to do it, really.